all the honor, the power, the praise, the maker of the heavens and the earth, and the seas, and everything that in them is, Lord, unto you we gathered with secrets to us. Our hearts indicted, good master. Take all the glory, and whatever burden your children came with, may they never go home with it. Father, I thank you because you hear me all the time. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen and amen. Champions, shout fire! Shout Ororo! Shout Muzozo! Shout Mafura! Shout Onction! Amen and amen. We want to thank the person of the Holy Spirit for the privilege to be here. Say thank you, Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
And also want to thank our most holy Father, Papa Joshua Aguilar. Say we love you, Papa.
We love you, Papa.
All right, 12 is the number of foundation.
Yes, sir.
Let's stand to our feet, please. Let's walk up to 12 persons and say to them, it's so very nice to see you.
It's not by power nor by might. If you believe it, help me sing. Come on, say I can do. You can call me Superman. Come on. You can call me Superman. But the Spirit of God lives inside of me. Ooh, yeah. And He's the one that has given me the ability. Say, He's given me ability. Now look to your neighbor and say, Take a good look at me. Ooh, yeah. I'm living in prosperity. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Say, I love you, Lord.
I love you, Lord.
Okay, so we began a discourse on how to win family members to Christ.
Win family members over.
And we said there is a way you can win family members to Christ. And I will not be right to say I grew up in a Christian home, but my parents were nominal Christians. They were initially Roman Catholic before my biological mother passed when I was 8 years old. So, like I told you, I was a house help till I graduated from college. So I had to live with different people. But of course, my dad went to prison for 1 year and 6 months, and then he got saved from being a Roman Catholic into becoming a Pentecostal Christian. And so he became a pastor in the ministry he was part of till he died. But here's the point. Even though I would have said I came from a Christian home per se, but you understand why I said I can't really say that.
Yes, sir.
Because I was a house help from 8 years old to other families. So I didn't really live with my biological father. But I did used to go and visit him from time to time in church. We always met in church. And he belonged to a ministry where they pray all the time. And I'll just sit and look at him. And I always used to wonder why. I used to see him as somebody wasting his time praying. I said, you are just punishing yourself. Has God ever heard you? He would tell me to come and join. I said, no, I'm fine. And of course, then I was in the other side.
Yes, sir.
But I used to feel sorry for him. Because even as a child, I used to be the one to give him money without even praying. So I used to say, does God really hear you? Are you sure God likes you? And he would tell me, God is going to use you one day. I said, I'm not interested. I used to tell him, I'm not interested. I feel sorry for you people. But one thing I can categorically say my biological father did not do to me, even though he was a pastor, was to ever force me to serve his God or to be a Christian. He never did. And at the end of the day, I'm a preacher today.
Amen.
He just died 3 years ago. So he saw me become a minister
Yes.
and a senior pastor at that, in another ministry he was not part of. But it was his delight. He did see me serve other pastors. But he did not insist on his Christianity. And if there's one thing I honor my biological father for, is that's one thing out of so many I still honor him for. See? And he knew that his Christian life was not attractive to me. It was clear as night and day. He knew I never fancied his Christian life. And so when I became a Christian, it was not through him.
Yes.
Because there was no way I could admire that life. Although growing up now in ministry, I saw the benefits of the life he lived.
Yes, sir.
Maybe now I would have appreciated it more.
Yes.
But as at that time, it was not something that was attractive to me. And he did not propose it. That's the point.
Yes, sir.
So when you are a Christian in a family, first of all, are you likable? Are you likable? You know, being in America, this is my 11th year in being in America.
Yes, sir.
And I came not knowing anybody. And I've told you over and over again, I slept at JFK for 2 days because I didn't know anybody. I was just with my bag, just sitting. And I slept at JFK for 2 days because I didn't know anybody. And of course, I lived in one of the most notorious places in Brooklyn. I lived with a pastor, I told you yesterday. He gave me accommodation for only 2 weeks. And knowing that I was a minister from Nigeria, he made me his Sunday school teacher. And the first Sunday school class I had, the members went to tell him, that guy, he knows Bible back and forth. He can pieces it. You know, Nigerians, they can exaggerate. He can pieces it. So he became uncomfortable.
Wow.
2 weeks later, he told me to leave in the cold because I came in January. There was a snowstorm. And so I almost ended up in a shelter. So it's not as if, when people see the success God has given me, it's not as if somebody gave it to me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's not as if what I knew that gave me the success, I learned it in America. I learned it from where I was coming from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But certainly not from my biological father. And he did not propose it because he knew that Christian life was never attractive to me. But having grown in Christianity now, I now appreciate it.
Amen.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I understand, sir.
Okay. Don't insist when your methods are not attractive. Why? Because God has never insisted that anyone must be a Christian. So why should you? The Bible says we should be imitators of God.
Yes, sir.
But God has not forced everyone to serve Him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So why do you think everyone must serve God? And if you are to go by who said me and my household will serve the Lord? Me and my household. People think it's Joshua. It wasn't Joshua. It was another prophet. But if you look at the life of that prophet,
Yes, sir.
God never picked anyone in his family to use. See? We celebrate Moses today
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
to see how God moved in his life.
Yes, sir.
But God never used any of his child.
True.
But there was someone who,
Yes, sir.
that thing is shocking me. Okay. Praise God.
Hallelujah.
One guy who found the life of Moses attractive to him was the person God picked. And Moses never insisted on the guy. The guy just looked at Moses and said, "Sir, I just like you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I've never spoken to your God, but I like you.
Yes, sir.
I like what your God is using you to do."
Yes.
Moses did not insist, not even on his wife and children. But today you find some Christians. Morning devotion, everybody. I remember I was part of the family I served. I was a house help to a particular family for 10 years. That family, the morning devotion, it was the most terrifying hours of the day, every day for 10 years, except on Christmas. And because I was a house help, I used to work till like 4 a.m. And then he would wake us up by 5 to do morning devotion. So how many hours did I sleep?
1 hour.
And so you can be sure. And he's the one ringing the bell. Good morning, Jesus. And he's not beating the bell. He's not beating it right. And then he always wanted me to sit next to him. He is not a pastor. He was a Roman Catholic, but so devoted to morning devotion. And he would sing those good morning, Jesus. And then, if I just close my eye, the slap he will give me. His own children are sleeping, he will not touch them. It is me. So when I shout, yeah, the children will wake up. So I was the alarm. The way he will slap me. But I'll shout, sorry sir. And then the children will wake up. Baba, why now? Then they themselves will now know they have to wake up. Because they knew why he slapped me. For 10 years. Because almost every morning devotion. And slap after slap after slap. But it paid off. See, I'm a minister today. And I don't sleep.
That's the thing. Yes.
That is it. I don't sleep. I don't sleep. Those who have lived with me will tell you. I stay awake till they wake up. Why don't you sleep, sir? I say, shepherd watch their flocks by night.
Yes, sir.
If something happens to you and you're somebody's child, your father will come looking for me. My mother died in one room. My father was praying in the next room. Now people are living with me. And my father went to prison because he said he killed his wife. Yeah. Now people are living with me, then I will go to sleep. And if an arrow kills you, your father will come looking for me. Yeah. So I have to stay awake. So I have developed that discipline to always stay awake. Yes, that's why I stay awake. But here's the point. The reason why I told you my coming to America is that for over 11 years that I've been in America, over 20 people have lived with me at different times. They will tell you, I have never called them to say, we must do morning devotion. I recall one day I proposed it. They said, I think we should be doing morning devotion. Only Pastor Eunice came downstairs. The others were sleeping. So I said, let me let them sleep. Because around 3 a.m. was when we all just came back. It will not be fair. Yeah. Then I'll now wake them up by 6 for morning devotion. I said, I'll let them sleep. But they are still devoted. Yeah. Never insist. We showed you in the Bible how Jesus was never able to successfully win any member of his family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He didn't. Rather, his own siblings. You know, people think Jesus did not have siblings. We showed you that in John chapter 7. Go there. Sir. Go to John chapter 7. They mocked him. They mocked him. They mocked him. They did. They mocked him. Yes, sir. Go to John chapter 7. Let's show you that. His own siblings were laughing at him. They had the victories outside, but they never believed. And we told you in our last class on this discourse, James, the writer of the book of James, was one of Jesus' siblings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the son of Mary.
Yes, sir.
But he was not one of the 12 disciples. No. There was another James that was part of the 12 disciples.
Yes, sir.
That one was the brother of John who wrote the book of John.
Yes, sir.
But the one who wrote the book of James was Jesus' younger brother.
Yes, sir.
And then the writer of the book of Jude was also Jesus' younger brother.
Yes, sir.
But they never believed. It was when Jesus rose from the dead that Jesus now went to see them. Yes. According to the Bible. That's how they became converted. Yes, sir. But they never believed. Rather, they were among the other siblings mocking him. See, after these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in the Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. And the siblings knew this. They knew that Jesus had a life target or a death wish on his head. Now, the Jews' feast of the tabernacles was at hand. His brethren, we told you here, brethren does not mean Christian brothers today. We told you it's an old British English for brothers. Yes. So, and it's not a spiritual language. When you see thou, brethren, these are not spiritual language. They are just old British English. Like the word old, O-L-D today, it used to be spelled O-L-E. Yes, sir. That's why even the British still pronounce that word old. But meanwhile it is, today we say old. Nigeria, we are very emphatic. We pronounce the D, old. They changed it for us. So that's why we pronounce D, old. But here, he was referring to siblings. And we have told you before, the Old King James Version was the first English translation, but it was the 13th translation of the Bible. The first 12 translations of the Bible was not in English. The first English translation was the 13th, which is the Old King James. And King James was the King of England at that time. And this was how the British spoke. So they wrote it the way they spoke. And we told you, the Old King James has only 54 mistakes. Other newer versions have over 250 mistakes.
Yes, sir.
So if you think the Bible has no mistakes, it's a lie. There are mistakes there. I've told you one before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? There are several mistakes. Yeah. But you have to study to know which one. For instance, Jesus said, we told you one of the common examples, right,
Yes, sir.
of a mistake. There were two thieves by where Jesus was hung. And then one said, Master, remember me in paradise, in your kingdom. And Jesus said, Luke 23, verses 43, verily, verily, I say unto you, today you will be with me in paradise. Right?
Yes, sir.
Please answer me.
Yes,
Is that not what he said?
Yes, sir.
I just gave you a scripture, Luke 23, 43. You can write it down. And then what happened? We know Jesus did not go to heaven that day. Because when he rose from the dead, when Mary wanted to go to him, he said, don't touch me yet, for I have not yet ascended.
Yes, sir.
This was 3 days after. I have not yet ascended. But he said to the thief before he died, today you will be with me in paradise. But when he rose 3 days after, he said to Mary, don't touch me yet. I have not yet ascended. So, why would Jesus say today? And then 3 days later, he's saying, I've not gone yet. I'm about to go, but not yet. We told you it was a comma. There's a comma.
Yes, sir.
Because if you read, the comma says, verily, verily. I open this part to Luke 23, verses 43. Can you do that for me? This one, Luke 23, because we'll still come back to John chapter 7.
Yes, sir.
Luke 23, verse 43. See what Jesus said. Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, comma, hey, don't speak. Today thou shalt be with me in paradise. What does that suggest? Means no. But we know that's not true. Because he told Mary, I have not yet ascended. That was 3 days later.
Yes, sir.
So this is an error. Because this error was supposed to come after today. So it will read, verily, verily, I say unto thee today, you will be with me in paradise. That means take my word for it. I can assure you.
Yes, sir.
So you see, it's one of the mistakes.
Yes, sir.
And then there were other mistakes too. For instance, the whirlwind took Elijah to heaven.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
But if you study, there was something Obadiah, the captain of the army, the third army that came to call for Elijah. King Ahab sent the first 50 armies to go and call Elijah from Mount Carmel. And they came, they got to the foot of Mount Carmel. They said, man of God, come down. And Elijah said, if I be a man of God, let fire fall on you. And the fire burnt them.
Yes, sir.
And then he sent another 50s. They were burnt up the same way. And then Obadiah, the captain of the third, got there and saw the ashes of so he knew something has happened. When he saw Elijah on the mountain, he said, oh, my father, please have mercy upon me. He said, then he said something. He said, we know that you are, no, actually, he gave his resume to Elijah. He told Elijah that when King Ahab wanted to kill the other prophets, he hid them in the cave and has been feeding them. And so Elijah was kind of merciful because he heard that this guy has been taking care of the prophets. And Elijah knew that there were still prophets alive. Why was he telling the Lord now that he was the only one?
Yes.
Meanwhile, Obadiah has already told him, there are prophets in the cave that I take care of.
Yes.
And he stood before the Lord and said, Lord, I'm the only one. And Jezebel is after my life. And God said, you are not the only one. There are 7,000 people. If you would not listen to Obadiah, then I'm telling you, there are 7,000. Anyway, when Obadiah said that to him, that I take care of the prophets and I hide them in the cave and I feed them, then Elijah said to him, all right, go tell your king that I'm coming to see him. Obadiah now made the remark. And that's the part you need to see. Obadiah said, sir, we know you. How the Spirit...
My God.
How the Spirit moves you at different times to different countries.
Wow.
That's what Obadiah said. He said even Ahab has sent emissaries to different countries, different nations to go and look for you. So Elijah was not just only a prophet in Israel.
Yes,
he
sir.
used to move to different countries.
Yes,
and
sir.
Obadiah said it is something we have come to know.
Sir.
And each time we get there, they tell us you just left. Brother, some men have lived, brother. What? So he was someone they all knew to be that kind of person. But it was reported the whirlwind took Elijah to heaven. Then you now come to John chapter 3. Jesus was talking to Nicodemus. He said, no one has been to heaven.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No one has been to heaven. I thought the whirlwind took Elijah to heaven. Jesus told Nicodemus, no one has been to heaven. So where did he go?
Yes.
Then certainly he probably was carried by the whirlwind to another country.
Yes, sir.
Because Obadiah said, we knew this to be your fashion.
Wow.
That the Spirit would just whisk you away to another country. So you see, you have to study right to not know what was being said that was not said
Yes,
that was
sir.
said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's how you navigate your way through the mistakes in the Bible. All right, so we just digressed a bit. Back to this guy. So what caused that detour, brethren? Okay, now, he says, his brothers therefore said unto him, depart from here. His brothers, his siblings at home. They told Jesus, depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples. So you see, the brethren were not his disciples.
Yes, sir.
See, there was a clear-cut demarcation.
Yes.
His own siblings were telling him, your own disciples, you have disciples. They want to see the works that you do. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. You want to be famous, don't you? Are you not the one who says you will be famous? Now, so why are you secretly working miracles? Go out, make yourself famous. And you would think that they said it because they believed in the grace of God upon his life. No, they said it to mock him. And see what is said. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him. They didn't. That's family members. And he did not insist. That's the point. He did not insist. He did not insist.
Yes, sir.
The venerable Jesus,
Yes, sir.
the Savior,
Yes.
did not even force his own family members. So why should you? How can you invite this kind of people for morning devotion? People who even mock. They knew he was working miracles. They even mocked it.
Wow.
They mocked it. Now imagine you telling these kind of folks, come for morning devotion. They say, we said we'll help you distribute flyers so that you can hold a crusade, public crusade. You say you don't want to. Now, I want to show you something in a few minutes. Why Jesus did not have a good accord with his siblings. It was not his fault. It was his parents' fault.
Oh.
I want to show you that by looking at somebody else's life,
Yes, sir.
then you will not know where the problem really begins.
Yes, sir.
Because God will never, say it,
God will never.
say it,
God will never.
insist on what to believe.
Insist on what to believe.
He will never insist. The first time Jesus appeared to me in Brooklyn, he told me before he left, he said, never. I'll never forget the way he pointed at me. Never try to convince people. He told me. He said, because you'll be frustrated. Then he said, if you read, I never try to convince people. I just told them the truth. You do the same. That's why I don't try to convince people.
Yes, sir.
It's up to you what you want to believe. But at least, if what I believe that I share with you is already working in my life,
Yes, sir.
then I think you should be wise to believe it.
Yes, sir.
But to think that I'm trying to convince you, Jesus already told me before I started, never ever try to convince people. When I preach, I don't try to convince you. It's up to you. I'm even surprised you came back. I say that respectfully.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
glad you came, but but see what Jesus said. And this is the part you should never forget. When it comes to dealing with family members, see what Jesus said. Then Jesus said unto them, my time is not yet come, but your time is always. That means he's telling them, you always have time, but I don't. So here, what separates you from family members is time.
Time. Yes, sir.
You may not have time as they do. Did Jesus not die? Yes. Please answer now.
Yes.
Did the siblings not live longer than him?
They did.
Was
They
Jesus
did.
able to write a book?
No.
Please answer now. Was Jesus? We told you in our last class, the first book of the New Testament to be written was the book of James.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not
Yes,
Matthew.
sir.
We told you the chronological arrangement was not the order in which it was written.
True. Yes, sir.
The oldest book in the Bible is the book of Job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then the first book of the New Testament was the book of James. But Jesus could not write a book, but the siblings who never believed later on believe and wrote
Yes,
books.
sir. Yes, sir.
He told them. It's all about timing, and he knew that very well. I'm surprised that you said you have read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and you didn't pass through this avenue. Yeah, I call it an avenue now.
Yes, sir.
The avenue of John chapter
John
7.
chapter 7.
You never passed through that avenue. Stop insisting on family members. It's all about timing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you have those who believe you, fine. Jesus did not insist. He didn't. Even Mary, who told him to work miracles to turn water into wine, did not follow him.
It's true.
I'd like you to see something in Mark chapter 3 so that you can see it clearly. The kind of family he came. Then you will know the reason why Jesus,
Yes, sir.
the reason why Jesus had a discord. Not that he proposed it, but the reason why there was a divide between him and his siblings, it was because of his parents. And Mary was one of them.
Yes.
You get to see Mary was a major cause. Mary was the reason why the siblings could mock him. Because that's also what Mary did. Mary mocked Jesus. I'd like to show you something.
Yes, sir.
Go to Mark chapter 3. I'm just digressing now. Go to verses 30. Let's go around verse 30. Let's go to verse 30. Let's see something. Okay. Okay, let's just read from verses 29. But he that blasphemeth against the Holy Ghost had never forgiveness, but is in danger of eternal damnation. Verse 30. Because they said he had an unclean spirit. So, people were already having issues with Jesus.
Yes, sir.
Saying that he had an unclean spirit. Because of the new message he brought.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Things they have never heard before. I think we told you the difference between blasphemy and heresy.
Yes, sir.
And some people use it carelessly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, look at verses 31. Follow this carefully. This is the reason why we came here. There came then his brethren and his mother.
Yes.
The brethren who once mocked him,
Yes, sir.
they followed their mother. Jesus was holding a crusade.
Yes, sir.
Then came then his brethren and his mother. And standing outside, when he says without there, they stood outside. They refused to enter the church where Jesus was holding a meeting. Even Mary, you knew what the angel told you about this child.
Exactly.
Now the guy, well, actually the angel said he was to be a king. Now she's surprised. This is not what the angel told me. You say you are Messiah. Raising the dead, casting out devils. That's not what the angel told me. The reason why I agreed with the angel was that he told me you were going to sit on the throne of David. Now, Jesus, when they even wanted to make him a king, Jesus ran away. If you study the Bible, they wanted to make him a king. He ran away. He picked race. He ran away. Now, go back again to verse 31. There came then his brethren and his mother, and standing outside, sent unto him, calling him. Jesus was, if you start from the previous verses, you know he was in the process of ministering, like I'm doing
Yes.
now. And then Sister Felicia, my biological mother's name is Felicia. She's now outside saying, go and call Osi. But he's preaching.
Ministering.
That was the case now. Jesus was preaching. He was in the process. Already, people were already having issues with him, calling him a devil in his service. And then he received the message. Your mother is calling you. And the multitude sat about. They sat about him. And they said unto him, behold, your mother and thy brethren are outside. See that? They knew. Mary embarrassed him a lot. How did the multitude know that Mary was? They knew her.
Yes.
They say, look at you. Even your own mother is outside. She's even calling you. She said we should tell you should come outside. Jesus was in the middle of a sermon.
Yes.
Mary was outside. The very same Mary Angel Gabriel appeared to. So go and call him. And he said unto them, who is my mother?
Exactly.
Brother. Wait, Jesus. It's Mary. He said, who is my mother?
It's true. Who is she?
What? Who is my mother? You should know. Mary, baby in the manger. And he answered, saying, who is my mother? And who are my brothers?
Yeah.
You should know them. See what he answered. See what he did. See what he did. Jesus, he knew how to play the game. Yes. If you want to embarrass me, I will embarrass you too. Yes, I mean, this is family to family. Yes, and he looked around. And he looked round about on them. You know what that means? He saw them, but he looked past them. As though he did not see them. Who is my mother? Where they? He knew they were there. He just, see, he looked round about on them, not at them. On. That means he looked beyond. Where are they? I'm still looking for them. He knew where they were. You get to see that. He looked round about on them which sat about him and said, behold. Now, he's going to talk to somebody else. Not even to Mary. He said, behold my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. Not the ones calling me outside.
Yes, sir.
See that? But who knew the will of God for Jesus first? Mary.
Mother.
But she was
His own
outside.
mother.
He said, and because you will not do the will of God. So Mary did not do the will of God. Even though she gave birth to him and knew the will of God for Jesus, she was not doing it. So you see where the problem came.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So it is no big surprise why the siblings were attacking him.
Yes, sir.
They were part of mommy's armies.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to show you. Because Joseph was already a big fool. Do you understand? He was a stupid fool. And church history reports that Joseph died before Jesus. And from the church history reports, they said that Joseph died sick. But even when Joseph was sick, Jesus was healing people, but he would send money to Joseph for medications. That's how church history reports it. He refused to come and heal Joseph. But he would send money. Say, let him buy Advil, right? Let him go and take coronavirus vaccine. Let him stay healthy. But he refused to go and heal him. Jesus would go to people's places, houses, and heal them. But church history does report, and they have a confirmed fact on that he never went home. That's why we don't know where Joseph was buried. Because he was a persona non grata. They were not accepting him at all. Now, let's show you another person's life. Then you can now see clearly why this problem existed in Jesus' family. So, if you think that because you came from a dysfunctional family, that's why your life is in crisis, Jesus came from a terrible one.
Oh, yes.
I know you celebrate baby in the manger. You are a beautiful Roman Catholic. And I know that you feel disappointed. Please don't talk about Mary like that. Is she your auntie? Do you know Mary had a sister?
Yes.
But we never knew she ever existed until when Jesus was on the cross. That was the first time she was ever mentioned. The Bible says Mary stood with her sister to watch Jesus being crucified. Is that not a witch?
Yes, sir.
You only appeared when your nephew was hanging on the
Right?
cross.
That's
When your
true.
sister gave birth to him, we never saw you.
We hear about
When he
you.
was working miracles, we never saw you.
about
But
you.
the moment they were hanging Jesus on the cross, the Bible says Mary stood with her sister
And she didn't do it.
watching him. And Jesus looked at her and called that woman
Yes, sir.
and said, look, John, that's your mother. See, but I'm not saying we should behave that way. What I'm trying to say is that when you look at the way Jesus behaved, it was not something he wanted to do. He was actually reacting to an action.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have told you before, God is a
Yes,
reactor.
sir. Yes, sir.
God is not an actor. He is a reactor. He says to the merciful, he will show himself merciful. To the pure, he will show himself pure. To the crooked, the Bible says God will show himself crooked.
Yes, sir.
God is always a reactor.
Yes, sir. Yes.
God is always a
God is
reactor.
always a reactor.
I mean, you and I today celebrate how powerful Jesus was. His family did not see it. They did not see it that way. They had issues with it. You see why he didn't like to go home?
Oh, yes.
Even at 12 years old, he already liked to stay in church. So you can already see. Remember when Mary came and said, your father and I were looking for you. He said, who is my father?
For real. I don't know.
this idiot. I mean, even Joseph was not civil enough. And the Bible says he was a good man. What kind of good man was he? Someone said he already did his own. I guess Joseph would have been saying, I've already done my part. I took you to Egypt when I was not planning to go to Egypt.
What?
Egypt that terrorized our ancestors. I had to run to Egypt. Now we've brought you back. Herod is dead. Please leave us alone. When they gave birth to you, babies were killed. I think you carry an omen. That's how Joseph saw Jesus. Because it was when Jesus was born that Herod commanded all the babies in Bethlehem to be slaughtered. So he saw the child as an omen. See. So here, you need to see, everything still boils down to what we told you. Jesus said, time.
Time.
We can be twins, we can be siblings, husband and wife, but everyone has his own time.
Yes, sir.
Everyone has his own time.
Yes, sir.
They will come along with time.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're a Christian home, we must all go to church together. No, Jesus did not even do it. They did not even attend service. They even came to scatter service. Now, I want to show you the life of someone, then we'll close. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
Have you been blessed so far?
Amen.
Now, don't be angry with members of the family. That's not. Don't say, so I'm suffering like Jesus. You are not suffering like Jesus. I told you my own story with my siblings, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm surprised they are Christians today. You understand? I have a group of wonderful siblings. And because we grew apart, it's sad that, I'll tell you truthfully, I'm not really that close to my siblings, my own biological siblings, because we grew apart. We were separated. I was 8 years old. I'm the firstborn, but we were scattered. So we did not see each other for many years. When we finally saw each other, we were already adults. So trying to, you understand? And I'll tell you truthfully, without lying to you, to me, I see my siblings' relationship as transactional. It is only when they need something, and they see my pictures on Facebook, they say, Bro.Osi is doing well. Then I have some cousins too. It's true, preachers. They will watch this message. Send us money. So, coming from that kind of family, we know God is using you. Hey, if you know God is using me, why don't you?
Serve my
They say,
God.
please send us money. Nigeria is terrible. If you had lived in Nigeria now, you'd have died. I said, I won't die in the name of Jesus. Did I not live in Nigeria? I mean, I have some wonderful folks. Praise God. But they pray for me today. And when they pray, they send it to me as text so that I can see their prayer. Do you understand? And that thing is money. You will pay for that prayer. But it's fine. It's okay. Okay. Let me show you something. Go to 2 Timothy chapter 3.
Yes, sir.
We'll close with that. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Oh, God is worthy
To be praised.
and adored. So we lift up, holy hands in one accord. Your hands are not lifted. Singing, blessed be the name, oh my Lord. Blessed be the name. Hallelujah. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And we give you the glory. Blessed be the name of the Lord. He's worthy to be praised and adored. Hallelujah. So we lift up the hands in one accord. Hey, blessed be the name, oh my Lord. Blessed be the name. Hallelujah. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So we lift up, holy hands in one accord. Singing, blessed be the name, oh my Lord. Blessed be the name. Hallelujah. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And you know, Jesus shares the same experience Moses had.
Yes, yes, sir.
Because the last time Moses saw Aaron, before God called him, was 40 years earlier. Remember, he ran away from Egypt when he was 40. God met him at 80 and told him to go back. And he met Aaron for the first time after 40 years.
Yes, sir.
So you see, when Miriam and Aaron challenged Moses in Numbers chapter 12, telling him, you do too much, as though you are the only one God called. God said, what? Do you think Moses is like, he's still your brother?
Yay.
Somebody that I talked to. The Hebrew says, God spits into his mouth and Moses will
Yes,
spit
sir.
back. That's what it means by mouth to mouth.
Yes, sir.
And God tested it. See what he did. When he left, the Bible says, Miriam became leprous. Moses ran to the Lord and told the Lord, please forgive her. Then the Lord said, if a father spits on the child, won't the child be unclean for 7 days? And Moses said, that's true. Then God said, that's what I did. The leprosy was God's spit on her. God said, since you say I use you, let me spit on you. Because this is what I do to Moses, and he comes out without leprosy.
Yes, sir.
Brother, some men have lived, brother. That's what God meant by I spit
Yes.
mouth to mouth.
Yes, sir.
I spit on him and he doesn't get leprosy.
Yes, sir.
You say, God, I talk to you too, right? Yeah, come. She had leprosy. Hey. See, don't be like King Saul.
Yes, sir.
You want to play the role of a priest when you are a king. King Saul was trying to offer God offerings. Samuel the seer said, you are very foolish. You are supposed to be a king, not to be giving offerings. Because of that, the kingdom will not continue.
Whoa.
But King David came with a different destiny. He became a king priest.
Yes.
Because the priests like him.
Oh.
But King Saul was someone priests didn't like. And Samuel said, you are foolish. You are standing in another office. You think this thing is just a family affair? This thing is spiritual. The reason why we brought in that story is when you are dealing with the Christian walk, it is completely independent of siblings, completely independent of family affairs. Let's show you something in 2 Timothy chapter 3. I'd like you to look at what Timothy said. Then you will now see what Mary did not do in the life of Jesus and his siblings. That was why they were way apart. But Jesus finally reached out to them when he rose from the dead. He had to die to wake up This time around, he now rose with all authority. That was why he was able to reach out to them. So you need to know the extent of your authority in a home. By law today in America, once a child is 18, as a parent, your authority is limited. But Jesus had to die to rise up, to now declare he has authority. That was the only way he was able to go and see his siblings. He did it with all authority.
Yes, sir.
And James now, his sibling, became the pastor in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And the apostles now became his members.
Yes, sir.
The 12 apostles became his members.
Yes, sir.
And Jesus never heard anything against them. And the apostles who knew how the family mocked him,
Sir.
Apostle Peter was there, but they never challenged James. They just, he's our pastor now. See, there's hope.
Yes.
Because your sibling can be a general overseer tomorrow.
Oh.
So everything has to do with what? Time. You just do your own. Run your own race. Why are you a busybody? A Christian busybody. Okay, go to verse 14. I would like you to see something. That thing is shocking me. I'd like you to see something Paul said to Timothy. He said, but continue thou in those things, mark the word things, which thou hast learnt and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learnt them, and that from a child thou hast known the holy scriptures, which are able to make you wise unto salvation through faith. And who raised him up from childhood? His mother
Mommy
and his grandmother.
Yes, sir.
His mother and his grandmother raised him from childhood to become the man Paul now picked to use for ministry. And he said it, knowing whom. That's the most important. You, a parent, you want your child to serve your God. Who are you first? What are your victories? You, the firstborn or secondborn, who is a Christian, who are you first to win the attraction of your siblings?
Yes.
You know, when my biological father passed, that was during the coronavirus, so there was a lockdown, and of course the US government did not allow people to travel. So I sent money home for the burial. To the glory of God, we paid for everything.
Yeah.
And it ran into millions. It was a beautiful, befitting burial for Pastor Greg. Anyway, some of our senior pastors in the ministry, went for the burial, and then some of our pastors too went. But the most senior among the senior pastors that went for the burial as a delegation on my behalf for the burial saw my siblings. And they came to see him because they told me they saw some of our pastors. I said, yes. I said, meet them, let them pray for you if you want to. I'm not insisting, but if you want them to pray for you. So they said, oh yeah, we'd like him to pray for us. Actually, they saw Pastor Emeka. And after he met them and left, they left in his hotel room. He picked the phone and called me. He said, man of God, are those your siblings? I said, they are. He said, my goodness. There's a clear demarcation. What happened? I said, it's a long story. He shook he said, man. I was looking, while they were talking, I was looking at them. This is Bro.Osi's siblings. These are Bro.Osi's siblings. Then he said to the one next to me, do you really know your brother? I said, yeah, he's our brother now. We grew up, this and that. He said, I knew they don't understand. You are Bro.Osi's siblings. He said, I could still see the resemblance. I know you. I said, they are my siblings. He asked me, the same father, the same mother. I said, the same father. The man we came to bury, he gave birth to all of us. He said he asked them over 3 times.
Jesus.
Are you people who see siblings? Yeah. I said, one of the reasons why you may think, why you probably was asking that question is, they may look like people that are not well taken care of. He said, partly, yes. I say, if I tell you how much I send them, but I can't do everything.
It's true.
And I'm not ashamed to acknowledge they are my siblings.
Yes, sir.
They will always
sir.
be. God made it so.
Yes, sir.
It's not my choice.
Yes, sir.
He said he kept telling them, your Bro.Osi's siblings. They say, yes, he's our brother. He's our elder brother. He said, man of God, please forgive me for asking. I said, it's okay. I said, if others even see them too, they will ask the same thing. He said, do you know who Bro.Osi is? But everything works with time.
Yes, sir.
Now, Paul said to Timothy, know who you have learnt these things from. I'd like you now to go to Acts chapter 16. Let's see something that will give us a clearer picture of what Paul said to Timothy here. Notice when Timothy learnt the Christian way from childhood.
Yes, from childhood.
From childhood. He found the attraction in the life of his mother and grandmother, but not in his father. If Timothy can succeed in Christianity through the aid of his mother and his grandmother, why couldn't Mary do that for Jesus?
Yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. That's true.
Yet, Timothy's mother, no angel appeared to her. But she succeeded in raising her child well.
Yes, sir.
Jesus, the Bible says, was the one who trained himself in the things of God. Not Mary. Mary did not teach him anything. Mommy, take me to church. Why should we go to church today? My schedule, I'm very, very busy, I'm very tired. A time comes, the child will be tired of asking. And then when the child starts doing drugs, you'll be the one to say, let's go to church. Let's go to church. When the child used to ask you, take me to church. So you people play out too much. I always tell our folks here, even when babies come and they are moving around, leave them alone. Leave them alone. It's better God gets them now before they become a prayer point in the future. Because I used to be a prayer point. Although my biological father later told me when I became a minister, but he never told me to my face I was a prayer point. Because that would have angered me. Because I already told him I was not interested in his Christianity. Chapter 16, verses 1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there, named Timothy, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jew, and believed. But his father was Greek. So don't think that the people we read about in the Bible had spectacular,
Yes.
they came from spectacular homes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Think about it. The marriage between a Gentile and a Jew.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that's a wholesome marriage?
No.
Meanwhile, the law forbids
Yes,
Jews to marry
yes,
non-Jews.
yes.
So the mother already broke the law.
Yes, sir.
But she still raised the child well.
Yes, sir.
Mary, that was even married to a fellow Jew from the house of David, could not successfully raise the children well. Jesus had to find his own part. So the thing is not about the kind of Christian home you come from. Don't fool yourself with that. I hear people say that I'm from a Christian home. I see your life. My grandmother is a deaconess. My auntie is a doctor reverend. My uncle is a vicar from the Episcopalian Baptist Church behind the cathedral. Only you. And see your life. Which was well reported by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium. They were talking about Timothy even long before Paul met him.
Wow.
When Paul came to Iconium, they were so glad to introduce Timothy to him.
Wow.
And Timothy was a young lad. But they said this guy is very exceptional.
Yes, sir.
Well raised. Paul did not know what they taught him. But the people started giving testimonies
Yes,
of
sir.
Timothy to
Yes,
Paul.
sir.
And Paul now picked him and adopted him
sir.
to
Yes,
be
sir.
his father. Paul now took him to Jerusalem to fulfill the oath to be a Jewish father to Timothy and then a spiritual father because his father was Greek. And Timothy's father never had issues with it. Never did. Never did. Why do you think the one who gave birth to you must be the one who raised you? My biological father did not raise me. I told you I was a house help.
Yes, sir.
But I still never missed it.
Yes, sir.
Because everything works with time.
Time.
Everything works with time.
Yes, sir.
Have you been blessed today?
Yes,
Talk to the Lord. Talk to the Lord. Talk to the Lord. Because of what this week is. This week is the week of glory and grace. 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 Yeah. Your life is going to be so attractive. Maybe you don't want it. Your life is going to be so attractive. In your office, people will just want to be with you. They will be so drawn to you. At home, people will gravitate towards you. Maybe you don't want it, but you are going to be so likable. So likable. Hi. I guess you are offended. You sound offended to me. You're going to be so likable. Say I'm likable. Say I'm accepted. Yeah. Yeah. Even if you have a girlfriend that is not really into this Christianity thing, don't push it. Don't push it. Let her see your victories. She will be the one to tell you, show me your Christian way. Yeah. Yeah. In our day, you will call Isaac a Christian with his marriage to his wife Rebecca. But see how the children they had fell apart. One stole the birthright of the other. Yes. They came from a heritage that carried the blessings of Abraham. And for 20 years, two siblings did not see each other. One was afraid that the other would kill him. But when they finally saw, they cried. It's amazing. The stories are there.
Yes, sir.
Those God used mightily never came from spectacular families. But if you are privileged to come from one, then make the best of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I guess you're angry. Someone said, you insulted me today. I did not insult you. Take your seat and talk to the Lord. Things must change for the best. Things must change for the best. I have decided my life is going to be so attractive. Family members will come towards me. Kings will come to the brightness of my rising. Kings will come to the brightness of my rising. Yeah.
Kings will come to the brightness of my
When they see my victories and my testimonies, they will come surely to the brightness of my rising. They will come surely to the brightness of my rising. Kings, kings, kings. Listen, take your seat, please. Take your seat, please. I mean, Jesus was born, and wise men that they never knew.
That's true.
From the east brought gold and silver.
Yes, sir.
So, Mary, you people spent it. A child with such favor, strangers they never knew, brought treasures, and yet you could not believe in the child. Didn't. Newborn baby could attract strangers that brought treasures.
Yes.
And you still did not believe in the child even when the child grew up. And the child was doing well. He became someone that the world needed.
My God. The light of the world.
The Bible says the priest in the temple said, see how the world has gone after him. But Mary did it.
Yes, sir.
You see why Jesus said a prophet is without honor, even at home. A prophet is that because he knew where he came from. He saw it. He said it. A prophet is without honor. And he never had issues with it. He made peace with it. It's okay. Don't insist. But make your life attractive.
Yes, sir.
Make your life attractive.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Make your life attractive. Listen, the story I told you about Pastor Emeka, I have a friend. I used to send money to that friend. And during my biological father's burial, I gave him money. He organized everything. Of course, my siblings were shouting, why didn't I give them money? They can organize it. But, of course, I know my folks. Anyway, they said there's this lace. It's so thousand, is 200,000 naira. I said, okay, no problem. Write it. We'll buy it for you. And my friend would tell me, see, I said, give them. Go and buy the lace for them. And we want this style. Give them. I said, don't worry, I'll give you the money. Anyway, that my friend, before I came to America, his wedding was the last wedding I attended.
Wow.
And he did that wedding in a place called Obio in Delta State. So I went to Obio for his wedding. The pastor in Obio, I don't know him. I was just sitting on my own when he came to me and said, during the reception, be the one to help them collect gifts. I said, I'm not even best man. I'm not even among the people wearing uniform. I'm just a good friend to him. He said, the Lord said you should be the one. Wow. So I went to tell him. I said, your pastor said I should be the one to help you collect gifts. You know, I've never gotten married before, so I don't know how to do it. But he said, no problem. His wife that he was married said, no. Bro.Osi, he's only best man that collect gifts. I said, but your pastor said I should do it. Yes. He said, no, pastor is wrong. He's only best man.
Yes, sir.
So I said, no problem.
Okay.
So I went to sit down. I was minding my own business before. Let me tell you. The pastor now later saw me. I don't know why the pastor was looking for me. Obio is a village, like a town. I say that respectfully. Anyway, he said, Mr. Man. No, he called me man of God. I said, I'm not a man of God. I was not even a pastor. I was not but I was serving a pastor there. He said, man of God, did you collect the gifts? I said, no. She said, he's only best man. Then he said, oh, no. I said, what's the matter? He said, they've missed it. But he officiated the wedding. Wow. He said, they've missed it. Oh, he shook his head. He said, I see you travel overseas. I said, yeah, I'm going in the next few days. He said, let's keep contact. And we used to keep contact. I used to send him cash and all that. Anyway, the rest is history. Now, here's the point. This is my 11th year in America.
Yes, sir.
My biological father died, it was 3 years ago. So 3 from 11 is how many? 8 years. So for 8 years, his wife was barren. That guy that got married. And the pastor told me that was why he wanted me to collect the gifts on their behalf.
Wow. Yes.
Anyway, the day they were to bury my biological father, he is the same guy I used to send money. He organized everything.
Yes,
I told you.
Yes, sir.
That Pastor Emeka that came, that my siblings were talking to in the hotel. I called that my friend. I said, you know your wife has not been able to have a child. He said, yes. I said, now, I'm sending you so amount. This is from me to you. Go and meet him in the hotel. Carry your wife, kneel down, sew it as a seed. Tell him it's coming from you. Don't mention me. But I want to help you.
Yes, sir.
He will pray for you. Your wife will conceive.
Amen.
They have a baby girl today. Now, the point is this. They did not know the pastor that was asking them. You have Osi's.
Jesus.
You have Bro.Osi's siblings. That same day, a barren woman was going to have a child. He was still sitting on the bed. He said, man of God, your people came to. I said, please pray for them. It's okay, I'll do it because of you.
Yes, sir.
She has a baby girl.
Amen.
She's now 3 years old.
Wow.
The baby girl.
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
There was no man of God they didn't go and meet. I said, don't worry, Pastor Emeka.
Yes.
There, because I was so grateful that he helped me arrange everything.
Yes.
He did everything.
Yes.
Even when my sibling was trying to say he's collecting money, I said, let him meet. You don't eat my money too. No. But he didn't. He did everything, made the list. He said, I want to give you a report. I said, don't give me a report. If you eat money, you have rights. Don't worry. But I said, I want to help you. I'll send you so amount. Use it, sow it as a seed.
Yes, sir.
So that he can pray for your wife. And when she conceived, they reached out to him. He gave them his phone number. He said, call me when she conceives.
Wow.
Now, the child is 3 years old.
Blessed be God.
See, everything works with time.
Yes, sir.
But what my siblings were supposed to benefit from, a friend did.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my family members. So it's like, Bro.Osi has the answers for them. But because the people will not accept, we'll rather give the answers to others.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the truth. It's my family. It's not yours, so you can't be angry. Praise God. That's why we told you this year,
Yes, sir.
improve on building relationships.
Yes, sir.
Improve on relationships. We told you. Because that's what will determine whether you will rise or fall. Some of you, you don't have the best relationships, even at work. Some of you don't. All your colleagues at work are not witches. They are still good people. Why is everybody saying the same thing about you? That means you have a problem, and it's true. And start checking yourself. Improve on relationships. Why are you always nice to only people who are nice to you? Why do you live that way? This person said this about me. Did you hear them say it? No, I heard. And you are going by what you heard. They didn't even say it to you. So aren't you going to say anything? I'm not going to say anything because I know they are afraid of me. That's why they can't say it to my face. That means I'm still more powerful than them. No, improve on relationships.
Yes, sir.
Build a culture and then make it a lifestyle. See, build the culture on relationships. Make yourself likable.
Yes, sir.
Make yourself. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you. You want to know the secret of success? I've just told you. Making yourself likable. If people don't like you, they won't give you money. I was talking to some of our pastors. Was it last week? And I was telling them in the house. Some of our pastors are in the house. I said, when you see people give offering, don't think it is a sermon. It is because God moved them to give offerings.
That's true.
There are pastors who are suffering.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when you see people come to give offerings, I said, don't think it's your right.
It's true.
It's God. And then also they like the pastor. If
Yeah.
people don't like it, they won't give you money. I was telling some of our pastors, they were surprised. I'm not saying they thought that you are supposed to give offerings. No, I'm not saying they think that way. But I told them for the first time. I say it's a blessing when somebody gives an offering and pays tithe. If they don't like it, they won't give. Go and sit down. Are you the first pastor? If people don't like it, they won't give. And God will not kill them. Go and sit down. If you don't pay tithe, things will be difficult for you. Go and sit down now. You better behave. So I was talking to some of our pastors. What day was that, sir? I think about 6 days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago.
Yeah. The day after crossover, yes. I had a meeting with some of our pastors, some of our leaders, and I was telling them. And I was telling them about us improving our relationships and making it better.
Yes, sir.
See, because when it even comes to offering, if people don't like you, Abby, so make yourself likable. Don't say, don't you know I'm anointed?
No.
They will beat you with your anointing.
Yes, sir.
Don't you see our Papa when he's prophesying to some pastors? Some pastors say, my members ran away from me. Nobody gives me anything. It is true. So when you see members give offerings, give tithes, it's a blessing and be grateful. Say, God, that means we are likable. But then again, I was trying to also tell our pastor, it matters how you dress too.
Yes.
Because the Bible says the robe of Aaron was for glory and beauty. And the people were to bring offerings to Aaron.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So make yourself likable. Otherwise, people will not put money in your hand. People will see opportunities and never tell you. And some of you go and buy good clothes. The clothes of 3 years ago, you are still wearing this new year again. It faded 3 years ago. It faded. You say, no, it's the texture. You think we don't know the texture? You say, it is polystyrene cotton. Which one is polystyrene cotton? This thing is already faded. And the color is squeezing. You know when the color is squeezing? When you want to iron it, even if you put starch, the thing refuses to be straight. The thing say, please, we are tired. Let them recycle us. So, go and get good clothes. And then, please, again, finally, stop wearing stupid perfumes. Perfume we don't understand. Perfume that will make people throw out. So say, I don't like strong perfume. I wear fruity perfume. What kind of fruity perfume? Pineapple. What is pineapple? You want me to be smelling pineapple? Don't do that, yo. So I say, it's raspberry. That's what you want on your body. You'll be smelling fruit. Please, go on. He is suffering. You are suffering. That's why you wore that perfume. You are suffering. That's why you wore that perfume. Go and wear good perfume. Which one is orange, citrus? Don't do that. Not in this church. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I'm serious.
Yes, sir.
And then those of you who are nurses or who work in places where you wear uniform, learn to iron your uniforms.
Yes, sir.
One lady came to meet us for prayers. I finished, but I'm just giving you a counsel. You know, after preaching, we'll give you counsel.
Yes,
Then
sir.
pray for you.
Sir.
One lady came to meet us for prayers. One lady. She's a nurse. She said I should pray for her. She has problem at work. I was looking at her. She said, please pray for me. I said, oh, what's the problem? Say, people don't like me in my office, this and that, this and that. She was talking. When she was done, I said, have you finished? I said, do you know, as I'm looking at you, I don't like you. I want to tell you the truth. I don't even like the way you look at all. What kind of stupid uniform are you wearing? She said, I'm a nurse. I said, which one? I've seen nurses before. This thing is so wrinkled.
Wow.
And look at this thing, your collar is dirty.
Jesus.
And you're a nurse. You will kill people. I told her that. I told her you will kill people. I won't lie to you. You know,
Yes,
I've changed now. In the past, I used to be crazy. I'll just tell you. No prophecy. Prophecy is big. I told her, I said, you will kill people. Then she was preparing for one exam to be a registered nurse. She said I should pray for her so that she will pass. I said, madam, you won't pass, oh. You won't pass. She said, why? I said, you will not pass. She said, I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Have you been reading for the exam? She said, my schedule, sometimes I do. I said, okay, madam, what's osmosis? Say osmosis. I said, madam, don't do nothing. No. Go and resign and get another job. You will keep people. Why? She didn't even look likable. And I had to tell her, I wasn't against her, but I was just trying to show her why people don't like her at work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I finally told her, madam, first of all, change. See the way you dress. Your uniform, this thing does not fit you. It's so shabby. And you look so dirty. I told her truthfully, I said, madam, you look dirty. Go and arrange yourself. Then I told her, buy good perfume. Then she was one person I told, when you buy a perfume, come and meet me. I'll pray over the perfume before you spray it. I told her, don't open the pack, but buy a good perfume. She said, like how much? I said, buy like over $200 perfume. And she went to buy it. And she came. I said, now I'm going to pray. I prayed over the perfume, sprayed it on her. I said, now your way is open.
Amen.
She's a registered nurse now.
Amen.
But as at that time, until then, her way was blocked. Even spirits, which she said, no. Then she came to me, prophet. Prophet said, no. Why? She was not likable. So what I'm telling you is serious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very serious.
So that you don't get jealous of those sharing testimonies. Say, why is this one always having testimony? Me, we don't. Because you are not likable. Even spirits that would have given you testimonies don't like you.
Lord have mercy.
Angels came to Daniel and said,
Yes.
Daniel, you are greatly beloved. Learn to be liked.
Yes, sir.
Praise God. Talk to the Lord now. Glory and grace. Glory and grace. Glory and grace. In my finances. In my job. In all that I do. Glory and grace. Glory and grace. Glory. Glory and grace. 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 I enjoy glory and grace. I enjoy glory and grace. I enjoy glory and grace. In my finances, I enjoy glory and grace. In my health, I enjoy glory and grace. In my education, I enjoy glory and grace. In every corridor of my life, I enjoy glory and grace. In the lives of my children, they enjoy glory and grace. I declare my children are likable. They are likable. They are likable. They are accepted. I'm likable and accepted. I'm likable and accepted. My partner is likable and accepted. My business is likable and is accepted. The things I do are likable. They are accepted. I flourish on every side. 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 I flourish. I flourish. I flourish. I flourish. I flourish on every side. Blessed be God.